Hawaiian Ryan, huh?
Oh my goodness, it's Saff, the legendary Kaiser
No.
High School, Hawaii represent, Saff from Tiger King. Oh my God, it's so great. I know it's like, KuaranTINA, we can't hug each other like Hawaiian style, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Hi,
Guar-
Saff.
Guarantee.
And-
No, yeah, I watched your guys' show with Beck, and it was hilarious.
Oh,
I'm so embarrassed.
Listen, though.
Why didn't make me do it?
Saff, I swear to God, when we made it, like we all said to each other, there's no way Saff's gonna see this.
I know.
Yeah, no, man, of course. Actually, it was sent to me because I guess there's people around the world right now like Googling my name,
Yeah.
Like, that I'm in. And I just get sent a bunch of things. And obviously, when it came up and it said that, I was like, dude, yeah, of course, it was Beck's name. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
so let's talk about that right now because that's hilarious. Becca here with the Easter background.
Yeah.
She is Saff's classmate, 2004 Kaiser High School represent in Hawaii, right?
Hell yeah.
And so when I found that out, I said, Becca, let's do a Zoom. We had just seen Tiger King. I guess it was a couple weeks ago. Everybody in the world's talking about it. It's literally the whole internet. And this is the weirdest thing in the world. This is how weird the world is right now, right, Saff? It's all coronavirus.
Yeah.
And then Tiger King.
Right.
Yeah.
The only two things in the world right now anybody cares about.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 will forever be the coronavirus Tiger King year. I mean,
That's the craziest thing.
And it's like,
And and it's ongoing, right? It's like this is not far from over, and you're probably going to be in this.
yeah, I mean, either the director, producer, filmmaker, either they're geniuses or their timing was just impeccable because it couldn't have been a better timing, Doing something Netflix like that, you need people to be home watching it. So
that is part of it. I mean, it's a great show. I mean, like, do you think if it just dropped in the normal time, like, how do you think it would have done?
Right, I think people would have been kind of it's a shock factor for sure,
Right.
I keep forgetting it's fake. Like I call you I'm like, you're my favorite character, and I'm like, she's not a character, she's a person. He's a person.
No, because it is documentary, but it also seems like it's totally like the most scripted, crazy fiction in the world too.
Oh yeah, there's billion-dollar movies around the world that shoot for those types of characters, and that's just them in real life. So I don't know.
Okay, we're going to get to all the juice, but real quick, I just want to, so the first video we made, which is the one that someone sent to you, was it a Kaiser High School Hawaii person?
No, just some stranger, just some stranger. It was like, hey, yeah, so this is a video I saw. It's pretty cool. It has your classmate in it. And I was like, I mean, it could have been, one of like, was it, Beck? Like 100 students in our class?
I think it had like 300. I don't know.
Yeah, it was huge. And like I hear people here in the mainland, I think that the mainland's always bigger than everything in Hawaii. Right. And they're like, yeah, the class was like 38. I'm like, what? Like I grabbed video full, so.
Okay, so you open up this link, you see Becca, and you watch the video.
And your friend Kelsey, I mean, through the whole thing, there were just so many crazy characters, but she was like the most normal person.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is it she or he?
I'm sorry, he.
I just want to make sure. Let's pick one and stay consistent.
Sorry, he.
Well, I saw in the article she wanted to be called he, so we should assume.
Right.
I want to respect that, and I apologize.
That's what I'm saying.
But the reason why I brought that up was because I was like, as crazy as everyone was freaking nuts. Okay, and she's the one that loses her arm. I'm sorry, he's. Through the show, they called her he.
Yeah, they do. You're right.
So I'm
no. Someone commented and said that through the show they called her she.
She. Yeah.
You can't even get the story right.
Oh my God!
Well, in the article said that at first they wrote the article with she, and then they changed it to he because she said she prefers the pronoun.
Everybody's confused about it. That's okay. I mean, you know what I mean. Okay, so. Even I'm confused. I forget how the story goes. Okay, so naturally born without penis.
Yeah.
Identifies, though, as a man.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
You're like, I had one class, Ryan. I don't have the freaking Wikipedia memorized.
Yo, it's funny. I miss that like Hawaii vibe, you know, just our like go back and forth banter. Like we don't take anything personally, you know. We just like to laugh and cut it up, and I miss that because here in the mainland, even in California, as laid back as they are, it's not like that, man, and I miss it.
Yeah, no. In fact, a lot of people were whispering, and we didn't know at first when it came out that you're from Hawaii, but they're like, she got Hawaii vibes. Like you're the like calmest. You're like the stability through the whole thing. It's like everyone's going crazy, and then we cut back to you. You don't have the arm. You took the most damage, but you're just the only one looking out for the animals themselves, and you got that aloha vibe. And it was like, is she from Hawaii? I'm like, yeah, right. Like she's from Waimanlo or something.
There's like an entire song, right? You can take the boy from the island, but not the island from the boy, you know? So
yes.
Yeah.
So then you went to the military.
I did. You know, it was the only way I could. I lost my mom very young as well. Right out of high school, I lost my mom. So I needed structure for sure. I was going crazy. I mean, I was getting in trouble. I was just like mindless, man, and I knew better. So I needed something to keep me on track. And the military was the ticket. So I went.
But you ended up in Oklahoma, and then that's how you just decided to stay there. So then what made you go to get a job at this zoo?
Man, I've loved tigers. I've loved animals my whole life, but tigers in particular. And as soon as I knew that I was getting out of the Army, which is Fort Sill, Oklahoma, I just Googled. I was like, how can I like pet a tiger? Or how can I get my hands on a tiger? Yeah, seriously, just a straight up Google search.
How can I get my hands on a tiger? Wow, how ironic.
Yeah, that Google search would be so different right now. But yeah, no, man. And he popped up because he was like an hour from me. Like Wynnewood and Lawton are about an hour apart. So I was like, I'll be there as soon as I can. And it took me like 2 weeks from that point to transition out of the Army. Right. And once I was like completely out of the Army, I packed up everything that I had with me and just drove straight to his park.
Wow.
Like I had no plans. I had like nothing, no foundation. I was just like, I'm doing it. I don't care what it takes. Yeah,
dude, that's that Waimanlo coming out of you right there.
Man, we're hard-headed. You know, we're reckless and hard-headed, man. But we're tough, so.
Yeah. Okay, so what was that first meeting? You're meeting Joe Exotic, right? What was that first meeting like? Because, like, I just saw the last episode, which was great, by the way, and I want to talk to you about that. But you were like one of the few people who kind of said, hey, man, I mean, look, there are bad sides, and we saw some of that. But right. there's a good side, too. So I want to, like, just ask you more about, like, okay, what was that first meeting him, and just more about what you thought about Joe Exotic?
Oh, man, he comes out like a brick wall, you know? I mean, what you guys met or who you guys met when you watched this documentary, that's who I met, too. Right. I mean, Joe has always been loud. As far as vocally, physically, he's just like a loud presence in the room, you know? He has to be the star of the show all the time, and that's the man I met for sure.
At first, that's a good thing. Like, that reaction was like, wow, he was charismatic, and you were drawn.
I mean, yeah, I definitely saw passion, you know? He obviously knew what he was doing at that point when I met him. He was in the business almost 20 years, you know? He was doing that the past 20 years of his life. And here I am, just like brand new. And he's putting me six inches away from a fully grown, real life tiger.
Wow.
I was like, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it right now, you know?
Right. So it's almost like you weren't really paying attention too much to looking about his character. You're like, look, okay, you seem whatever, you're fine. Can I get to the tigers?
He was like the key, you know? He was like the key to the cage. That's it. That's
right.
You know? And not to dismiss, you know, his passion and his commitment to it. But yeah, I think that's why a lot of things just kind of went right over my head with him, you know, because I was like, man, I don't care about you. You know, this isn't a Saff and Joe show. This is
I'm
like.
not here to judge you. Right. I'm just like, look, whatever. We all have things, but I'm here to get close to the tiger. So that thing that the producer, was it Rick, the producer? The one who did Inside Edition with Bill O'Reilly back in the day, right? The guy. He was saying something like that Joe's like he's afraid of cat, like he's afraid of the tigers.
Oh, man, he was scared of everything. You put him in with two full-grown raccoons, and he's terrified. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that kind of speaks to his character too, because every single weekend he's in with fully grown tigers. You know what I mean? So it's just.
How do you explain that? Someone who's afraid of a couple of raccoons And then he's in there with the tigers. How do you explain that weird paradox?
You know, I think for me it was that's the only way Joe knew to be the center of attention. You know what I mean? He couldn't let anyone else be the tiger guy. You know, he was the Tiger King. I mean, you can't be afraid and not do the show and call yourself the Tiger King. So.
Yeah, but he could have picked anything, right? He could have done, I don't know.
He definitely could have. You know, he started, I don't know if you guys know this, they mentioned it a little bit in the documentary, but he started this zoo because him and his brother used to own a pet shop. And then his brother died of a drunk driver in Texas.
Wow.
And in his memory, you know, before they pulled the life support, Joe promised him, he's like, I know that your dream in life was to go see, you know, these exotic animals in the wild in their natural habitat, and you never got to do that. And I will, in your memory, bring them to the rest of the world. So that's why they invested literally everything. And when I say they, I mean him and his parents. They invested everything into this zoo, and they called it a memorial park. Wow. So people could come see these animals and be able to interact with them and all that in memory of his brother and for others who have lost their loved ones, you know? So it was a beautiful dream. It was a beautiful thing. Wow. And I was stoked to be a part of it, you know? And then it just kind of all fell apart. So I left. Yeah.
In the documentary, it said that when Joe came out to his parents that his dad kind of didn't want to hear it. Didn't want to talk to him.
Oh, yeah. His father, Francis, is so traditional in his culture. And old school, you know, and that was unacceptable. So yeah, that really happened. And you could see it when I met Francis. He was pretty bad with Alzheimer's. And he's still currently suffering through it. But I mean, you could still see it come through, you know, that like his relationship with Joe was like cosmetic. It was like, you're my son, but I don't agree with anything you are, you know. You could see that.
But yeah, he still stepped up and he helped with the zoo.
I think, like I said, he was pretty bad with Alzheimer's, so I think it was just something he followed. Oh, yeah. Shirley was pretty much the head of that operation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So like, okay, so you get in there, you're so happy, you get to the tigers, you kind of, you know, Joe, whatever. At what point, kind of going like, wait a minute, is Joe Exotic dangerous? Does he care about these animals? Am I working for a company that I don't agree with? Like, describe a little bit of that process.
The first time that I knew something, that I knew something is, you know, he started to tell me that the more we breed these cubs, the more financially, you know, beneficial it'll be for us. But these cubs, these tiny little babies, they turn into these, you know, 400, 500, 600 pound animals.
Right.
And it takes a little bit more cage space, man. And we just started running out of room. So that's kind of when I got the idea that something, you know, something's different in this industry. It's not just about animal care. You know, there's all these like dark, deep holes.
It's about finance. It's about real estate.
It's about money, man. It's about money, weed, and just having the biggest park or the biggest rescue. And it's about the accolades. You know, I was in the military prior to this. Yeah. And this is exactly what I told Joe when I walked away is, in the military, it's all about what you wear on your chest, you know? It's about your rank. It's about what you accomplish, your badges, and your ribbons and stuff. And that's the way Joe lived. I mean, he needed something on his chest that showed the world what he did. And it stopped being about the animals, you know? So every time he did something I disagreed with, I was like, you know what, stick it out, and maybe I can make a difference next time.
Yeah.
And I just ran out of next times, man. I really did.
No, because you're saying this, right? Someone just accused Trump, and I don't want this political, but it's just an interesting metaphor. Like, Cuomo, the governor of New York, right? And they had this battle, right? And Cuomo, if you try to make me open the economy before I think it's ready for the people that I'm supposed to govern, I'm not going to put their safety at risk because you think you're a king. You're not a king. You're the president, and the president doesn't have total authority, you know. But it's like Tiger King, right? You know, it's like Trump King. Yeah. There's a lot of similarities between, and then, you know, we saw the meme of Trump with the Joe Exotic haircut.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a ton of funny ones going around, man. I have a blast.
right?
It's and they're the same type of person as far as character. It's all about what they're wearing on their chest.
Yes.
With Trump, he's on Twitter like crazy, right? With Joe, it was the same thing, man. Joe put everything on social media and then wondered why everyone was in his business.
Right.
Man, stop talking.
And Trump's he owns our zoo. And he's feeding us to the, you know what I mean? He's like beating the old people on the head and the weak and the immunocompromised and feeding them to the tigers that are more on display.
Regardless of what his political education was, we knew Trump was not the type of man you need in such a high-powered seat. We knew that.
Right now, like you said, the timing is so wild. We have a Tiger King and we got this President King. The American King.
President King. Yeah. I mean, there's just so much going on, dude. I'll be honest. There's so much going on in the world right now. And let's just pull it back to America, right? They're saying that there's a tiger right now that tested positive for the coronavirus in New York, right? And who knows if that's true or not, but from an animal expert point of view, the chimpanzee is the most closely related to the human, period.
Right.
That would be the first animal on a park zoo full of animals that would be, infected or affected by a human, carried disease. It's just interesting that during the Tiger King craze, a tiger is infected by the coronavirus.
Let me translate. Are you saying that maybe the media sees that if they say the tiger got the coronavirus, it would get more clicks than if they said the chimpanzee got the coronavirus? They're writing?
Yeah, I'm not thinking that. That is exactly what's happening.
Right, because it's like, what are the coincidences? It just seems so wild, it's just like they're sitting there like, if a tiger gets it, wouldn't that be a great story? And then Joe Exotic got it, right? They said.
Yeah, that's what's going around. Apparently no one, including current husband, has even heard from him. Now, mind you, I don't speak to any of these people anymore. But that you hear it through the grapevine, and apparently he hasn't been heard from once he's been since he's been put into quarantine. Yeah. So
can I ask you, so have you ever met Carol Baskin?
Not in person. She reached out to me after my incident, after I got bit by the tiger, and I'm sure of her intentions. But I just declined to talk to anyone. I didn't want to be a part of that feud. I didn't care. I just wanted to get back to the animals, man.
Was that feud really that real? Like, was he shooting the dummy dolls and stuff? And
no, that was real footage. He had like a little, he called it Joe Exotic TV, and it streamed online and whatnot. And he did it every day, every night at 6 p.m. in Oklahoma time. He did it, and that was real footage. Yeah, was
it for show? Was it all for show, or do you think he really had that deep hatred towards her? Like he was really?
Yeah. No, he definitely wanted a world where she didn't exist in it, for sure. But again, just like with the Tigers, I mean, Joe didn't have the balls to do it himself. Like, I can say that genuinely. I mean, I know this man. He didn't have the balls. Honestly, Carol is the only one who genuinely benefited from his disappearance. You know what I mean? Like, she is the only one, not his kids, not his ex-wife, not any of his businesses, because he was a businessman. Aside from their little zoo, he ran businesses, and that's why he was traveling so often, whatnot. And it's just funny to me how she literally turned every conversation about Dom into demeaning him. You know what I mean? Oh, he was always angry, or he forgets things a lot. It's like, no, this is the man you're supposed to have love.
I saw you say in an interview I thought was interesting is that you were surprised by watching the Tiger King because you knew your part of the story, but what was new to you was hearing all the people who you thought at the time that it was happening that we were all on the same team. Aren't we here because we love animals, trying to care for them? So you watching the Tiger King was going, and then at the end you end it with the freaking message of the whole movie, which is there's no winners here. Who's caring about the freaking animals?
That was my take from just my entire experience there. And you got to remember, I said that before I even knew that everyone in the industry that I thought was working together was actual mortal enemies. you know? And obviously Joe was the biggest target, but I was so consumed by working with these animals every day that I didn't pay attention to their little bickers. You know, Jeff Lowe said it himself. Jeff Lowe was like, me and James used to go talk in the dark alleys of the park. I've never known the park to have a dark alley. What are you talking about?
How does this whole story have a dark alley? What is
exactly
all these dark alleys coming from?
I don't think I've ever trusted I wouldn't trust a person with like my urine sample if they're talking in dark alley form. Like if you mention dark alleys to me, we're not talking. A lot of it is you have to have a little bit of like gusto, man, to work with these animals in general. You know what I mean? Like these animals are unpredictable and every day is different, you know? So you got to be a little bit out there anyway, just to want to be in this industry. And if you're in it long enough and the greed consumes you, you turn into a monster, man. Greed is like the birthplace of monsters, man. You know?
Yeah, I agree. But it just, you wouldn't have guessed that the tiger zoo industry was the place where greed is going to like grow and kill all these leaders. I mean, look, even Doc Antle, I don't know but if there was a season 2, I'm guessing there's shit on you, motherfucker. Like I don't know what you into some shit. Like there's a whole nother show with Doc Antle.
Yeah. He is like extremely successful in his very early years, extremely successful in this business. So what he's doing right now is honestly just like a byproduct of that success. So he's kind of living on what he used to be and just living it apologetically, you know what I mean? And props to him, man. I can't handle one woman and he's got 5 of them, you know?
Right. I mean, yeah, he's like the Filipino lead singer for Journey. He's just like living off of someone else's.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better. Exactly.
Hey, by the way, what's your ethnicity mix? Everybody wants to know in Hawaii.
Hawaiian, Chinese, Filipino.
Oh, that's a good one. Hawaiian, Chinese, Japanese here.
You are not Hawaiian.
Hey.
You're just your name is.
Hey, stop it. 6%.
Okay, 6%.
6%. What's up?
It counts. It counts.
Becca is what? What's yours technically? I know you get Japanese, but
I'm mostly white and Japanese.
Don't be ashamed.
And I'm half Japanese.
She's like, I'm not related to Carol Baskins. That's all she wants.
So then you
No, I'm not. Gorgeous.
So you left Oklahoma and now you're in California, but you didn't want to try to work with more animals?
Yeah, I definitely get to work with them still. Not the animals on park. I removed all my personal animals. I had 11 big cats and about 10 or so other animals on that park that I removed personally once I left myself.
Where did you take them? You just
they're in the other room. You're
like the pet detective.
Yeah.
Remember that movie? Like before.
Of course man. Ace Ventura.
Of course you do, dude. The best scene, right? He's like hiding like 7,000 animals in his little 1-bedroom apartment in the Kiki or whatever, right? And then
he just sings and they're like,
yeah, because the landlord's like, hey, I told you no pets, Ventura. Is that a dog I hear? And he's like, what are you talking about? And he jingles the key.
I watched Ace Ventura religiously as a kid. I used to run around my house yelling, "Bumblebee tuna, your balls are showing." My sister Sam absolutely hated me. She absolutely.
Dude, we're gonna turn off the Zoom, and then you're gonna go like, and then all the birds are gonna come out. The gorilla.
Honestly, I just place them like with other friends of mine, that have sanctuaries that aren't open to the public. Because at that point, I just didn't want them in that situation anymore. So right now, I would say that I personally work with animals, but I don't do it on a professional level anymore for sure. I'll go to these sanctuaries, or I still have connections in the industry, but I'm more so a consumer or a customer rather than someone who's directly working with these animals.
I heard you're in Redlands. I'm from Riverside.
Get out of here. It's like 15 minutes from me.
Yeah.
I just drove through that actually to get back from LA.
That's crazy because you went to school in my hometown, and I was born in Kalama Valley. Action, what's up?
Okay,
dude. You're in Waimanlo. I'm from Waimanlo Plus. Okay, folks, let's not. We're the same fam. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely not.
Hey, I went to school in Akebono. Come on now, come on.
I know. We had. Oh my God, I remember that statue of him. Remember outside the shave ice shop?
Oh my goodness! How much clay did that take? Damn, to make that statue.
Yeah, a lot probably.
You know.
No, good times. I miss it. I really miss home. I really do.
I heard you haven't been back in like what, 5 years, 6 years, 5 years?
Years. Yeah, my 11-year-old was like 5. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you planning to go? Well, I guess right now we're all staying put, but I mean, what you plan? Are you thinking about moving back to Hawaii? You don't want to take care of mongoose?
Yeah, I used to try and catch them, dude. I remember my mom used to yell at me all the time, like, "Stop trying to catch those squirrels." I'm like, "They're not squirrels." Yeah. Hey. But yeah, no, I don't think I'll ever move back there. I still have my entire family still there. 2 of my sisters and my brother, they all are there with their families. So that's home. That's always going to be home. I
love that honestly. Like my whole family's back there, so I'm never moving back. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just know. You know what it is? Honestly, is I cannot keep my feet on the ground. I mean, I am constantly moving. If I figure that there's something bigger or better somewhere. And I'm just talking for me to get into, you know.
That's how Becca dates. That's her dating philosophy.
What?
You don't like to stay still.
Something
bigger and better, huh?
Is that your dating philosophy?
Talk shit to me about it.
She saw the first YouTube. There ain't nothing hiding, right?
No, it's amongst friends, but we're fine.
Hey, I'm still on the same guy, by the way, as the last.
That's the last. Oh,
nice.
We have to ask this just because the last video you saw it, right? And we were debating, right? And I'm like, this is what I said. I'm like, how the hell do you not return a text from someone who only has one hand? Right?
Shut up!
And she goes like, no, you know what? She probably just used voice program. I'm like, no, she didn't. She tested out with your, you know.
I did. You're darn right I did. I spent hours on it, bro. No. You know, like I said, I didn't know her name. And then once I realized who it was, I mean, it was literally the same profile, just the name change. I was like, I fucking know her, you know?
I see. It was the married name, is what you're saying. I see.
think so, yeah. I really think so. I'm not sure if that was her married name.
You're like, I know the face, but how come the last name not Japanese anymore? How come?
Yeah, well, yeah. You know?
Oh.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah, it used to be. I knew her as Anderson.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it wasn't Anderson. Okay. Yeah, the Howley. And then, you know, once I realized who it was, I went ahead and reached out, man. You know, so yeah. I miss home, man. I haven't spoke, like, even Becca, I don't even talk to Kazu as often as I should. I used to live at that guy's house, man.
Yeah.
You know, Bree, I like check in with her, you know, on like Messenger. Like, how are you and the kids, you know?
He has 2 now.
Yeah. So
how many?
I don't know. Do I have 3?
Wow. How old are they?
Yeah. 11, 5, and a brand new baby.
Oh wow! Congratulations!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets a little rough around here sometimes.
So can I ask you, like, just about the you know, you were when you were in high school, Rebecca said she didn't know, she thought you were like biologically male. Was there what point in your life, like, did you think, okay, you know what, I'm on that team, I'm identifying with? Was it way early?
Yeah, I genuinely don't know if I ever did that in my life. From the moment that I can recall memory,
right,
I've always been this way. You know, always.
It wasn't even like a battle. It was just like, oh, I'm this way.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything else, and then obviously when you get to a certain age, you start to realize, like, oh, like there is a difference. You know what I mean? Like, it matters.
Let's ask the question that we're all wanting to know.
Right.
Did you have a crush on Rebecca in high school?
No.
Tell Tell the truth.
A little bit.
A little bit.
She cute.
She is.
You're not wrong.
You know what's really funny is this is the same Rebecca I know. Like, she's so shy. You guys just turned her 18 shades of red right now. that's the Rebecca. She was always really shy and really sweet, man. You're like the sweetest girl.
See?
Oh,
what did I tell you? Your fakery works on people sometimes.
thanks, Ryan. Ryan's like one of my haters.
No, I think she is sweet.
Oh yeah, no, she was always really, really cool, man. But like she said, you know, we really didn't hang out a lot. I didn't hang out with anyone. Yeah.
So right now, Tiger King has definitely thrown some mojo on your game. What's happening now?
Yeah, actually, I am not with the mother of my oldest anymore.
Okay.
But I've been committed to this one for forever, and I'm staying committed. Because I can't do this dating thing anymore, man. It's not for me. It's really not. I got kids.
Your oldest son is in Hawaii.
No, Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're all over the place. So you got to go
all over
travel.
Just seems like no matter what it is, right? No matter what the situation is, you just have a very calm, peaceful, sensible, logical and caring demeanor. I feel like you're like, you know what? I am who I am. You seem to be like, especially in a world of this confusion and chaotic, like characters, just Joe Exotics in the world. You're like this one stable, shining star in all of the darkness and the dark alleys that you didn't know existed.
The dark alleys, yeah. No, I appreciate that, honestly. I just, honestly, man, there's so much in this world that's going to bring us down. I just like to be on my own team on that, in that aspect. I mean, if I need someone to cheer me on, I want it to be myself. So I just kind of go with it, honestly.
Yeah. Nice. And also, how do you talk to your kids about the whole coronavirus and the new fame that you're experiencing? What's that like?
We were in Walmart, and the oldest said, it was like the second time someone came up to me. We hadn't talked to them about it because it's not really something I want any of my children to watch. Mm-hmm. And the oldest said, why is everyone wanting to take pictures with you? So now we have to stand there in the middle of Walmart, in the middle of a pandemic, and explain to them, like, okay, this is what's going on. And obviously now they all know, the two younger ones, not so much, because they don't care. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a conversation we were prepared for, so we kind of just went, rode with the punches on that one. It's like, we'll just take it as it comes, So.
Do the kids been around tigers or?
Yeah, definitely, especially my oldest. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was a point where he sat in a picture with one, like Steve Irwin style. I never posted it. I wanted to so bad, but I never did because I knew people would be like, how dare you? Like, that's your child and that's a tiger. But that was just their life, man. My 5-year-old walked a tiger on a leash,
Right.
Yeah, on two legs, on hind legs, this tiger stood taller than my 5-year-old, and he's walking it on a leash, So that was just their life, and they didn't know any better.
I find it so interesting, right, that you get your arm taken off by this tiger, and you go back 11 days later, right? Is that right? 11 days?
Well, no, it was on the 5th of October, and I had my surgery on the 7th of October, and I was back on park on the 12th of October. So it was 7 days total and 5 days from the amputation.
That's what I thought I heard. Yeah, 5 days, right? So, wow. Now, and you're standing back at work, your arm's in a whatever, and you've got this thing on. It's fresh from the hospital. What is that like first day back?
My very first day back, I got back to park at like 2 p.m. Out of the hospital. And I just jumped on my four-wheeler and just kind of drove around the park and just checked everything out. I was gone for a week. I said hi to all my animals, and then the very next day was actually another tour day. So I was in the show cage with these show cats with like a cast and my wound vac, and like I just looked a mess, but I was there because my biggest thing was this is my career choice, and just like a firefighter or a police officer or any other career choice, there are risks, and we choose to deal with those risks because we choose to, do this as a career. And I wanted to make sure that people understood that. Like, this isn't a freak accident. How do I not expect a tiger to be a tiger? I work with tigers, rainbows and butterflies, you know?
Oh my God.
Going back to that moment, like, do you remember the details of what happened when, like, you know, why you stuck your hand in the cage, and do you remember like the feeling and all that stuff? Is it?
Oh yeah. It was, man, I did that 100 times a day, every day for at that point, almost 3 years.
Wait, when you say you did it every day, you mean you stuck your hand in that way and nothing happened?
It's the routine of, you know, cleaning or shifting them out and then cleaning, feeding, watering, and then shifting them back. That routine in general, I did that every single day, you know, for every cat on that park.
Was there ever a close call or something weird that made you go, oh, that was a close call? Was there ever a moment like that?
I mean, I'm sure there were moments, you know, what's funny is I've had a lot of people come up to me saying that what scares them the most about me is that I have zero fear when working with these animals. And this was obviously before my incident, you know, and then it just kind of continued after my incident. And then it's true. I genuinely have zero fear. I have more of a passion. I got to live my dream for 10 years, you know. I was down, man.
I'm interested. Does the no fear transfer over to other areas in your life? Or is it more, it's mostly with animals or just anything?
I think it's I think it's more reckless in other aspects of my life. Maybe even in this one, you know, people can see idiocracy in what I do or what I did for a living. I mean, a lot of people can look at me and go, that guy's nuts, you know? But like I said, it was,
tigers more than just people?
Of course. Yeah, tiger never let me down. And I hand to a cat, you know?
I love that you don't hold that against the tiger, because it's such a deep. We were actually talking about this drunk last night on live on Facebook, and I probably should delete it. But I was just like, you know, I'm like, you know, just like in the Tiger King, you know how like Saff, she just gets it that the tiger is just a tiger. And goes back to work 5 days later, is not mad, like, and understands, you know, that's Saff probably shouldn't stuck, you know, the hand in, right? I kind of look at humans in a similar way, where it's like sometimes you're savage humans, right? Like sometimes we are. We're just that way.
You know, I don't think I've ever met a savage tiger. I think I've just met tigers. You know, I've definitely met savage people though.
No, I know what you mean. I just meant there's moments where like there's moments where they can turn it on. That's my point. You know what I mean?
And that's what I mean. Like, it's so funny how people in interviews, they're like, "Oh, you're not mad at the tiger." I was like, for being a tiger? Like, no, man.
No, I totally get it so deeply. So when you got it, I'm like, yes, someone else gets it. I don't know if I'd be able, you know, like, but we were talking about even right now with the whole coronavirus and the political craziness and everybody lying, and there's all kinds of things going wrong with the world. I think it's an important lesson that your story provides, where it's like, you have to place the rage in the right place. You can't be angry at the tiger, and you can't be angry at, like, you know, even humanity in a sense. Like, I think our job as individuals is to fight whatever, like, selfishness and the things that make humans humans and not trustworthy. We got to fight that. But I also think it's important to acknowledge, like, tigers are tigers and humans are hairless
tigers.
You know, I mean, we're all animals, man. You know, we have this innate instinct. You corner a human just the same as you corner an animal, and we're gonna fight back.
When we're being backed into corners by economic degradation, we're being backed into corners by, like, where's our stimulus check?
Quarantining is kind of backing the human into a corner, because you're pulling them away from their daily routine, their normalcy, you know.
Like, you like to get out. What's quarantine been like for you?
Oh, I break the rules all the time, man. You know, I'm the guy out there walking around.
Don't tell them that. They're psycho about quarantine. I
feed ducks.
You wear a mask, or do you feel? What do you think about the whole mask thing?
Well, right now in California, like a week ago in California, in San Bernardino County, which is where I live, they just implemented you have to wear a mask in certain buildings, like grocery stores or banks, stuff like that. You have to wear a mask or you can't go in. Gas stations. So I can't go anywhere without wearing a mask inside, but I don't wear it until, like, I'm at the door, you know. I have it, like, hanging on my ear. I'm like, I got it, but but I'm not putting this thing on. And like a lot of people, I just filmed with a film crew like 2 days ago. And they're all like, they had like biohazard suits, man. And I'm like, in my t-shirt and jeans, like, what are you guys doing right now?
Wow.
I'm the kind of person, right? I'm the kind of person, and my mom would slap me in the back of my head saying this, but this is the honest truth. If it's going to get me, it's going to get me, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm really not.
Hey, stop being from Waimanlo, would you?
I mean, Bell Street, dude. Bell Street, I have to represent.
Wow. So what's the first thing you're going to do when you can publicly, without any shame, like just be out in the world? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go?
I was thinking, honestly, the UK. I want to go to the UK. And also Australia. I actually got invited to go down to the Australian Zoo where Steve Irwin and his family built.
Nice.
I got invited down there, so that's obviously a planned trip. But the first stop I want to make is the UK. I got some business up there, man. I love their accent. I love the fact that they don't tip their waitresses because their waitresses make enough money. Their culture, their atmosphere. I just want to be a part of it. I'm not moving there. I want a vacation there for sure. So that's going to be my first stop as far as traveling.
What are some things that you miss about having two hands? You know what I mean?
That's funny that you said that. We just watched our baby do something really freaking amazing.
Right.
And the siblings were like, yay, and I was standing there like, good job, I can't clap. And I don't know how else to put that, like it's the one thing I can't do.
But it's like, that's funny because that's kind of a great outlook because that's not that much. Like, I mean, if there's one thing that sticks out, so what people don't like it when you go, or you're not supposed to touch your face right now, right?
I'm not doing that. Yeah. Pat myself on the shoulder. Yeah. Good job, buddy.
No performance has been good enough to where I'm going to hit myself.
I mean, none of it's worth that. No, I just, honestly, that's really the one thing. It took me a while though, man. It was a long process of figuring out how to do things all over again. Tying my shoes. You don't even know how many shoes ended up in my yard. I was like, just have my shoes. I don't need shoes anymore. I can't tie them.
Again,
how about the phantom arm?
That's Waimanlo training again. Barefoot.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get angry first and then be logical, right? No, I do have phantom pains still. My nerves in my amputated side grows like 1/8 of a millimeter a day. So they're constantly firing off, and that's what phantom pains are caused by, is because your nerves are growing and firing off with nowhere to go, there's no.
For how long? Forever?
I think forever. It's been forever. It's been since, and this happened in 2013. So 7 years of it in the exact same. Yeah.
Wait a minute. So. Did you read a book called The Phantom Brain?
I did not. No, I'm not much of a book reader. I'll be honest.
I'm going to send this audio book to you because I read there's a doctor who wrote this book called The Phantom Brain, and he invents through the book, right? He talks about his research and trying to figure it out. And scientists were or the whatever surgeons were one in the early ages of the phantom arm syndrome, right? They would cut the arm shorter and shorter, and then the phantom feelings would still remain. So so he's going through all the scientific evolutionary process of them trying to figure out, okay, how do we stop this shooting pain in an arm that doesn't exist? So he ends up creating with out of $5 from a 5 and dime store or whatever. He bought a mirror,
a box and a mirror,
and a box, right? And so you put your regular the full arm through one side of the box.
Reflection therapy.
Yeah. So
as a reflection, and then your brain sees the reflection of your other arm, and soon the brain will tell your entire body, oh, okay, we have this arm here. It's not, whatever. And then you don't feel and you have to keep doing it over time to train your brain. It's not like an automatic fix, but anyway, send you the link. It's interesting. Wow.
No, that sounds. I've heard of reflection therapy. I've just never read or heard the book. or of the book. And it's funny that you bring that up, man, because it's true. You know, like if I sit here and think long enough, like say my hand itches, because it does that a lot. You know, like it feels like my hand is itching and there's no hand there.
Wow.
Do you ever catch yourself trying to scratch the air where the arm was?
No, I don't. Just because now I'm already focused on the fact that like it itches and I can't do anything about it. So I sit there and like just tell myself it doesn't itch. And if I do that long enough, it literally goes away. So I know neurologically and like, nervous system wise, it's all connected. Right. Yeah. But I do forget like a lot, man. 7 years later, I do forget that I don't have it. I'll constantly hand myself things and just drop it. You know, my kids laugh at me all the time. You know, or like I'll reach if my hand is busy or like if it has something in it, I'll reach for the door, you know, or reach for something, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, God, I have no idea. That is wild.
Yeah,
that is wild. Yeah, I think that I don't forget his first name, but the last name was Dr. Ramachandran. I remember that.
Wow, that's
a name, Indian guy.
Definitely send me that book, man, for sure.
Yeah, fellow brownie. And you know, we get it. Like so
the yellow.
Yeah, we're the ethnics. We can talk like that. But, so Ramachandran and Fan. Yeah.
No, it's so funny, dude. I said that in an interview. They were like, "Who do you want to play you in the movie?" And I'm like, "I don't know, a brown kid." They looked at me so funny. I'm talking to a bunch of white people, and they're like, "What did you just say?"
Hey,
that's how we do it.
Hawaiian Chinese. I just want to let you know. Put my name in there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there you go. Hawaiian Ryan has to play me. I'm putting it out there. I'm not kidding doing it.
6%.
But you have to be willing to take your left hand off, brother.
Hey, you know what? I don't even use stranger danger anymore. So you know what? Take my left hand.
I mean, you got two. You don't need both. I'm just saying.
You know, the crazy thing was watching Tiger King. And whoa, is that
is that New Wanu or is that California?
That's you.
Okay. That's New Wanu. Okay. Yeah. We have to identify.
The crazy thing, like, so we're watching the documentary and like, you know, when he first comes on and then it's like the first time they show you and then they show this guy with no legs and the first thing you think is, holy shit. Like this guy was just ripping off limbs everywhere, right?
Yes,
and then you find out that he didn't. And Rebecca, shame on you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! So the guy. Oh, you did watch it? Oh, okay, good. Yeah, but the guy lost his legs from a zip line accident.
Yeah, Rinky, he actually, you know, he did it, and he was really young when he did it, you know, but it was like a makeshift zip line in his friend's backyard. And they were just testing it out, you know, trying to see if they could actually build it for real, professionally.
Yeah, I have no friends I trust enough to say, hey, I got a makeshift zip line in my backyard. Want to like Uber? No, I don't. I do not. Tell me how it goes, though. Do it. Can you do a Facebook Live?
I mean, we're the same generation that like used to bomb hills on skateboards with no helmets and no knee pads. You know what I mean? Like we jumped off of that rock in Haleiwa not knowing how deep it was. I mean, the cove right there past Sandy's. I remember jumping off that rock head first. Sometimes the water was only like 2 feet deep. I mean, we're just reckless, man. You know.
I see a lot of videos that show like guys doing just crazy stuff like that, and they all say like, "This is why men don't live long."
Saff, why are you gonna switch teams to the side that dies faster? Stop it.
Why?
But the life's more fun, I think. No, I didn't mean that, but it's
kind of.
I always want to go. It's fun, man.
You're not wrong. Hey, look, I saw this documentary. Remember the one? It's called Solo.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a guy who, the whole documentary is a National Geographic documentary, and the whole documentary about this one guy who goes free climbing with no ropes, no nothing, right?
Wow.
You just like true, like he might as well be from Waimanlo too. Just like no slippers, just you know what I mean? Just like, and he's going up like he broke records, right? You're going the highest, but they took his, and I would love to see your brain, Saff. I would love to see your brain because I bet you have similar brain. He was talking about to his neurologist, right? We look at your brain and the amygdala, the part that administers fear.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Doesn't
His
work.
had no action. Like, you look at the MRI or whatever, usually it lights up, right? His was like dark alley.
Right. Alley of the park. Yeah. I can't imagine. No, I mean, I don't remember a conversation with my parents that didn't consist of like, it's, the consequences, but you don't fear them, And it's true, man. I now as an adult, I get it. Like, it's true, And that's what I mean by reckless. Like,
But what
it's
do you
not
do
that
about your kids?
You see it in your kids? You see that?
My 5-year-old, he's trouble. He's trouble.
You trying to say, like, don't do like me?
Yeah. No, I don't.
No, you're like, just it'll be fine. The worst is like you lose
your life, boy. Yeah. My exact words to all my children, and this includes my teeny tiny little baby girl, is if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. So be tough.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's classic. Would you care if they came out with like a sex toy that was like your arm, Saff's arm?
Like my nub. That would be the weirdest thing in the world.
But if I invent it, will you can we work out a percentage deal? Because I think it's genius and we'll work together.
Like, how are you gonna like invent it though? Like it's I'm pretty sure I already invented it.
Yeah, I would have to use your
invented it. I get it.
No, I'm so hilarious. But it would be funny if it was like actually like, what happened to the hand? What happened to it? Did you like
I asked that exact question because technically it's mine. Like I had it when I came in here. Now I don't. Where is it?
Chinese brain, you and me.
I got
like, get this. That's mine. I'm gonna put that on fucking eBay later, bro.
I mean, seriously, it was mine, right? But I guess they got like a protocol where they just destroy it.
Yeah, biohazard.
That was sad. It was really sad.
But you got the picture, right? You got a picture of it at least, or something.
I took a picture in the hospital the very first day that I went there when they reattached it and all that. But then the very next day they amputated it. So I got a picture of one of each of them. Yeah.
How great would it have been is just get one last selfie, you grabbing the hand, and then the hand grabbing a selfie stick.
Yeah, right. Technically, there's more to that picture. That would have been an awesome picture.
Now, what do you think about prosthetics?
So for the first I'd say a year and a half after the incident and after I healed and recovered, I was pursuing a prosthetic because obviously, I didn't know what to expect. So I was like, I got to get back to 2 hands as soon as I can.
Right.
But man, within the year and a half, I just realized I get along okay. I just had to get past my like, I don't know, entitlement, that entitlement of you need 2 hands to do this. No, man, there's a lot of things that you would think you need 2 hands for, and I promise you don't.
Wow.
The other day my kid was like, can you do a one-handed push-up? I was like, you mean a push-up, boy? Like, don't be crazy. Like, that's just a push-up. So yeah, stuff like that.
That I can't do it with the 2 hands. So I mean,
that's not unacceptable.
All right, you're in the military, right? That's right. It's like, oh my God, it's horrible. Wow. So like, let's say if you had like, if for one, you could only have your hand back for one thing to clap one thing, what would you clap for?
I guess, my kids is really the only thing I can consider right now. I would love to be able to, my youngest, or not my youngest kid, but my youngest boy, he claps for everything. He thinks everything's amazing, and he's just so wild and out there. And he looks at me funny sometimes when I don't clap. I don't even pretend to clap. I just sit there like, that's something I don't participate in anymore, And he looks at me like, why not? It's the best thing ever. So I'd love to give that back to him. He has never known me with 2 hands. So
right.
He's only known me with 1 hand. So.
See, that is an app I could invent. I get Saff there, and on the app, you push the button and it claps, and the noise comes out.
You know what? That'll be amazing. I just need like a left hand. I genuinely need to go buy like a model left hand, and then just give him a clap or 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it would be cool. You could actually like change color. Like your arm could be African American if you wanted it to.
I could be anything. My left hand could be anything it wants to be. And that's I love that.
I love your attitude. My left hand could be anything it wants to be.
I have a question for you.
That's what we need right now. Yes.
A question for you. So, say if Joe, for some reason, this gets overturned, he gets out of jail early, and he's like, already, right? He's gonna try to get some kind of business going and get fame or whatever he can, right? He's gonna get going. And if he calls me, he's like, "Hey, Saff, I want you to come start another zoo with me. Are you down to do that?"
Yeah, no.
You're just done with him.
And it's not just specifically him. Obviously there's more history, but it's just the fact that I don't want to do it professionally anymore. Okay. My biggest bitch with myself right now is that if I was to ask myself, what is best for these animals right now? Like, what is your answer to that? I don't have an answer to that. I don't. After 10 years in the industry, after like blood, sweat, tears, and my left hand sacrificed to that industry, I still don't know what's best. So until I have that answer, I don't ever want to do it professionally again.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, and what's even a close option? Is there?
That's what I mean. That's where I'm at with it. I used to think I never thought they belonged in captivity, but I used to think since they're already captive, let's just make it the best captivity possible. Yes. Within my means personally. Right. And then now I realize that I don't know if captivity is the best for these animals. I know they can't return to the wild. They have no wild skills. Yeah. Their food is handed to them on a silver platter.
Dude, who's feeling like that more than all of the human race right now? We're not quarantined, locked down, no job skilled. We're out in the wild like, trying to do yoga by Zoom.
Exactly. So for the animals that are already in captivity, I don't know what's best for them. I really don't. For the ones that haven't been born yet, the cubs that aren't born yet, or the animals that are coming from a circus or coming from all these different walks of life within the exotic animal industry, I don't know what's best for them. I really don't. But I do know that the animals I worked with on a daily basis were happy animals, and I can say that with confidence because an unhappy animal will eat you. I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Well, Tim Stark said something like, I can't remember the exact way he put it, but basically like, the whole thing is, there's not enough in the wild, and what are you supposed to do but make more, right? So he's kind of for breeding, right? And it's like they may be in captivity, but at least they're not becoming extinct because we keep
and I do agree with that, because I would love for my children to be able to do what I did, if that's what they choose, instead of just reading about them in picture books and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because that was a threat at some point. Now that's not really a threat. I mean, there obviously is more tigers in captivity than in the wild. And Tim's point is just common sense. If you want more of something, you make more of something.
Well, interesting. You just said something about an unhappy animal eats you. Looking back at that moment, do you have a theory of why maybe the tiger that took your arm was unhappy that day, or do you have any backstory?
At that point, he just didn't want to. I always say he just became a tiger. I'm sorry, my kid is screaming in the background. He just, I think it was more playful than anything. I obviously can't be sure, but if he was trying to kill me, if that tiger wanted me dead, 600 pounds of him would have had me dead, period.
Like pulled you through the cage, mean?
That's the only theory I can come up with, is that he wasn't aggressively trying to attack. It was more of like a playful manner, or even maybe just like a warning. Like, you're too close. I don't want to do this today. Just give me my food and leave me alone, because as soon as that incident happened, which only took about 15 seconds, he went right back to his life. He went into his cage, he ate his food, he drank his water, and went to sleep.
Yeah, because he didn't try to take your hand and like go eat it.
If he wanted to, Yeah, that would have been way worse if that was the case, and that's the only like opinion that I can speak on. Just as far as my experience with these animals is that I think I would know if it was an aggressive move on the tiger's end, and I think the only reason I can confidently say that is because he would have like ate my ass, man. I was standing there next to him, you know.
And Joe Exotic might have liked that, but not you.
Right. As long as all the evidence is gone, let's just wash it out, right? No. But yeah, I mean, I obviously know I got lucky. I obviously know that more damage could have been done, and then at the end of that too, I obviously know that it wasn't an aggressive manner. You know, he was just a tiger, man. You know, if your dog bites you, it might be a smaller injury, but this is a 400 to 600 pound animal, apex predator. You know, they're built for that. If he wanted to destroy me, he would have destroyed me. That's how I feel on it.
You know, I want to say a couple of things before I know your kids are screaming in the background, and thank you so much for just hanging with us.
No, you're good. You're good. I just know that you guys heard that because she's
honestly, you know what I thought? I'll tell you what I thought. I thought it was Rebecca's kids, and I thought, wait, isn't today Thursday? Don't you not have your kids today?
We can't tell where the ambulances are coming from.
My kids are old.
Do your kids are they? They're grown now, huh? Last time I saw this.
7. He's almost 8, but yeah, he does scream. Actually, he screams like a girl.
The last time I actually seen pictures of him, he was like Micah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like what, 4 or something, just starting school, I think.
Oh. Yeah. He's old now. He's a punk.
They grow.
Yes.
But yeah, your kids are beautiful, Beck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You should post your kids. I never saw your kids.
I know. I try, I post some here and there, but especially now with like people are on social media.
Yeah.
I don't. I used to though. Like on my Snapchat, I posted my youngest all the time because he's a nutcase. He's always doing something that is just outrageous. This is why I have to like at least film or record him, because if I was to just go home with a story, they wouldn't believe me. He's nuts. Like, he's nuts. So I have to come home with proof, you know?
I have 2 kids too. I have a 19-year-old and an 11 going on 30-year-old. So
I was just going to say, yeah, because, I'm obviously coming up to being a parent of a teenager, and because of my history, I'm terrified, obviously. I'm terrified.
I'm gonna deal with tigers.
It's the one thing you're afraid of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I'm terrified because I know what I was like, and
I was terrible too.
And they say it's gonna be 3 times.
No, you were like.
I was so terrible. All I was into was boys in high school. I was bad.
So same
thing. Nothing changed.
So yeah. So yeah, that's good. That was good.
At least all my kids are from one daddy. Okay.
Yes. Good job.
Good job. Yeah.
We had like I want to make sure I'm just looking at we had a list of questions. I want to make sure we got everything.
It's literally so hard to talk to you because I have 1,000 questions and they're all bursting at once, and I'm like, I don't want to miss it, but the conversation is it's alive, so I'm just following what you're saying.
Oh man, I know.
Great. Oh my goodness.
Here's one. Can we do a documentary of your life? Oh my God. Hawaiian Ryan Productions.
I want to do your documentary. So I'm just saying, I'm sure 1,000 people are asking you. But I would love to. Your story is amazing from like Hawaii time. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Like I said, all of my family is from Hawaii. So yeah. You're gonna have to come to Cali, huh?
Of course.
Hey,
I mean, as soon as I can get on a plane and it's safe.
And we don't mind going to the UK and Australia too.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
You got to tell the whole story.
No, this is the honest truth. My oldest, obviously myself too, but my oldest is like infatuated with that type of stuff. The teen crumpets and the what are you doing today, Governor? Like that type of stuff. Like, and I'm just like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go check it out. I've never personally been there, so yeah, definitely, I'm excited.
So it's been 2 years. You left the GW Zoo, what, 2018? You've been hanging out. You're like, until you can figure out what's the best answer, what's the best way to take care of the animals. You're like, I don't know if I want to do that particular profession again. But like, what is on Saff's like vision board going forward? Like, what's the ideal? Where are you trying to get to, professional wise, life wise? Just describe what's your ideal.
You know what? Life wise, I'm in a good place. We settled here in Redlands because of this whole COVID thing. It wasn't gonna be permanent, but you know, it worked out good, and I'm loving life here. The weather's amazing. The Pacific Ocean is still here. You know what I mean? So that was mainly what I wanted to do, is kind of get back to my roots and put my feet in the sand again. You know what I mean? So right now, honestly, I'm just in get yourself together, you know, find yourself again kind of mode, you know, just relax and enjoy what life has to offer right now. But I'm telling you, man, I know me, and I know that eventually I'm going to want to 100% work with these animals again. You know, it's one of those things, I'm never going to live it out. You know, I was living my dream for 10 years, and that's not something that you walk away from lightly. You know, it's like that really, really, really good relationship that ended really, really bad, and you still think about them. So every time I see like a feral cat walking around the street, I'm like, I miss my tiger, man.
But this time, so, yeah, how would it be slightly different? It might not be a zoo situation necessarily, but what would be another version of that thing?
Right. So I think if I do get into it professionally, I think it's obviously not a zoo setting. I think I would rather do something that would kind of work more advocacy wise for the animals. There's a lot of legislative bills out there right now put into place. They're not active yet, or they're not passed yet, but they're there at the front of it, and they're put into place specifically to stop breeding and to stop cub petting in particular, not necessarily the interaction of these animals, but the public interaction.
Yeah.
So you would have to be a professional in order to interact with them. And I think that would stop the cub petting industry, you know, in its tracks. Therefore, the need for more babies stops in its tracks as well. And even though the population won't be as great, it'll be responsible, you know, responsible population. And I think that's important.
So would it be going to work at a sanctuary or something, or like?
You know, I don't know, because it's a very fine line between sanctuaries and zoos. They're doing the same things. Even the ones that
I was saying about Carol Baskin's place.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was like, how is she any different? She's trying to shut everybody down. She's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It was genuinely just a rival competition thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't about stopping someone who's doing something bad. It was about eliminating competition.
That's all it was. Pepsi versus Coke, right? Or
like
whatever.
She literally said, these animals are not meant to be in cages, as they panic on her animals in cages.
Yeah.
What?
Right.
Yeah,
that's exactly it, you know, and that's what I mean by I don't think I want to work professionally in a zoo setting anymore, because I truly believe that they don't believe in cages or belong in cages. And you know what's funny is I haven't even seen them in their natural habitat. So I think my first move should be, once I do decide to do this industry again professionally, is see them in their natural habitat, see what I'm fighting for. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
easier for me to kind of relate to it, and then drive forward with my passion. And I think if I was to have done that from the start, I may not have been mixed up in all this nonsense.
Right.
But you know me, I go in head first, and then figure it out from there. So
yeah, you know, I love the way you described talking about Carol Baskins. You're like, yeah, you look into her eyes. And there was a weird way that you put it, because that's what I was thinking. Is like, forget the evidence, forget the fact that she put death or disappearance in like pencil. You can see it scratched out or disappearance. Forget all the obvious evidence. It's when she talks, there's just something like, you know,
it's the way that she answered questions, and then also the way that she defended herself. I don't know if you guys know this, but she was very unhappy with the way she was portrayed in the documentary.
What do you mean? Them letting you speak and you saying words and we understand?
Exactly. I don't know how the rest of the world feels about it, but a documentary is basically you ask people questions and those people answer. So when you're asked, you know, why would a tiger attack you? And you answer, I don't know, you could put sardine oil on your shoes and they'll you.
That was
What
so
are you
crazy.
And then you wonder why people think you're a murderer.
Yeah. For me, it was the meat grinder
The
thing.
meat grinder was very funny too. We're like, you can't put a whole human body in the meat grinder. The arm barely fits. I heard.
I spent hours trying to get his arm in there.
Trust me, girlfriend.
Hey, that's exactly it, you know.
I mean, maybe if you folded and go elbow first. I mean, I'm just saying.
Exactly. You know, and that's the thing about Carol. You know, she's the next door neighbor that literally smiles in your face while holding a knife to your back, man. You know, that's Carol. Yeah.
I'd almost rather you just be a pissed off dick and just right in front of my face. I just know.
Exactly.
You know, just give me the real deal.
In the mouth. Yeah. Don't
be like,
don't smile at me. Yeah. So that's the vibe I get from her. And that's the vibe I've always gotten from her. And, you know, I think the rest of the world got the same vibe. So I think I was pretty spot on.
Dude, we're getting a lot of that in Hawaii right now. I don't know if you know, but we got like Caldwell. He opened up the project, construction project in Sherwood Forest from Waimanlo.
I've been following it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, that's your community. That's your people. It's our people. Hey, I'm Waimanlo Plus. We established
it. Yeah, you're Hanai. You're Hanai Waimanlo.
Yes, thank you. But it's like that's happening. Caldwell, he comes on, he wears the palaka, which he wears the palaka.
I know, man. I know. And my sister, I was actually talking to my sister about it, and I was like, I mean, I don't understand how that went. It like jumped steps, didn't it? Like it was at one place, and then you blink your eye, and it's like a whole next motion of the movement. What happened?
It almost seemed like it was like, oh, everyone's on lockdown now. Hey, we're on lockdown.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell the boys.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
I mean, yeah. Right? I mean, I'm not there, so I don't know all the details, but I mean, that's what it seemed like just by watching what has been released about.
So we're all like, what's going to happen, right? Like you're going to, first of all, you're endangering the construction workers. So of course it's hard to say no. They need a job right now. So it's like, okay, I'll go, but we're being endangered. Then the protesters come out, they're endangered. Then the cops come to, and then now everybody's together. It's chaos, right?
Yeah, it's pandemonium during a pandemic, within quarantine, and you don't have the support of the island. That's the whole point, is you don't have the support of the island. You guys know just as much as I know, island community is everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's everything. And that's why all these other things didn't pan out the way that they were supposed to pan out. It's because that island is solid, man. They're rock solid, you know?
You know what's crazy, though? He ended up stopping the project because they found a 3-inch bone.
Yeah.
So it's like the living people.
I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah, so the living people that you were willing to sacrifice them, and then you stop it for the dead person. So I just found such irony in that. Like, but even that was probably just political because whatever, right? You can't or whatever.
I think anything that you dig up,
yeah.
You know, anytime you're digging anywhere, I think that goes across the board. If there's some kind of history to it, you know, cultural history, or if it's historic in any way, if you find anything, that bone could be from a chicken or a pig. I mean, no one knows. You know, they don't know. That bone could have been from a barbecue 4 years ago. I mean, I don't know.
You're like, knowing Waimanlo, it probably.
It was from a barbecue, man.
You don't know what we eat out there, man.
You know what I mean? Some kid, you know, killed his rabbit on accident and then buried it and then told his mom it ran away. You know what I mean? And that's what they dug up, and you know, we'll figure it out eventually.
That's hilarious.
That kid was not me. That kid was not me who lost the rabbit.
A couple things on my mind that just happened recently. Okay, so there's two things one was I saw a picture of coyotes, wild coyotes in the streets of LA. It's like, can you talk about, and that's not the only one I saw. It's like wild animals are.
Did it give you like a I Am Legend vibe? You know what I mean? Because I have been to LA, and there's a definite I Am Legend vibe about the entire city. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the hustle and bustle of LA because people have to make money. Hollywood doesn't sleep, you know?
Right.
But
how long
I mean,
drive? How long was it to drive from? Because that's usually like a 3-hour drive from Redlands to LA in traffic. So.
Oh yeah, in traffic. Yeah, I think I left at like 5:45 this morning, and then I didn't get back till about 2:50 or so. So it was a long day, man. It was a long, tiring day of just being in the studio all day. So, but it's fun. I don't know. It was different. I would have went out no matter what because I was not going to stay in this house all day. I can tell you that. There's no way.
Yeah, but so what do you think?
The weather's gorgeous today, man. Look at this California sunshine.
Is that something that you knew was going to happen, though? It's like I mean, as the cities go bare, oh my goodness.
That is
no clouds.
How's the weather in Hawaii right now?
Oh, it's perfect, too. It rained. Oh, yeah, there you go, Becca. Show us Nu'uanu. What's happening?
Yeah, what's it looking like out there, Beck?
Oh, yeah.
It is gorgeous, man. See, this is why I miss the first sunny day I had here in California. I was like, I love it here. It's so sunny, you know? Yeah. But that's because Oklahoma, like, it rains, 5 minutes after it's like dog. So
wait, but what I was trying to Becca fell off the world.
I'm not.
Don't jump out. Don't jump out. No, but did you expect you're an animal expert, how this works. Did you kind of expect as the humans went away into their homes, the wild animals would come out? Like what's happening with the wild animal world?
Yeah. In certain regions where they coexist, coyotes, man, they're smart. They know that humans mean food. Not they're eating humans, but humans are always eating. So there's always food around. Just like a bear, a bear is the same way. A bear will be in your front yard, not because he wants to be around you, but because you got food somewhere in that house, and he knows that. These predators are opportunists, so if they don't have to hunt, if you're just throwing it in a big bucket that you call a trash can, they call it a food bowl.
Right.
So yeah, obviously, when the environments have to kind of overlap each other, you're going to see kind of a coexistence. And then when the humans are there's less humans, then you're obviously going to see more of that wildlife for sure.
Right. In fact,
now they have to come look for the food.
Right. I actually read another one that had to do with New York City rats. And because there's less people going out and eating on the street and throwing so now they're hungrier and they're turning to cannibalism, the rats.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Every single animal that eats meat can eventually, it's like an innate instinct, man. It's an animalistic instinct that they're going to survive. They're going to.
Somehow, somewhere. And there was a zoo article you sent me where they're feeding the animals to each other to the zoo. Where was that?
That's in Germany. They can't afford, what happened is they can't afford to keep all the animals in the zoo. So they're going to start feeding the zoo animals to the other zoo animals.
That's unfortunate, man. That really is. I've fed animals to animals, obviously, but those animals were already dead. They were dead animals that I was taking out.
Did you know about that horror story?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So funny. It's so funny to hear it from Rick Kirkham. For him to say that, because I mean, he filmed everything. So I'm sure that conversation is on film somewhere,
Burned, right?
Right. And I think, maybe burned in the fire. I forgot about the fire. But I think that, if there was a conversation, then it's just a matter of that was a dick move on Joe's end to tell someone, hey, I'll take care of your animal, and then to do such a thing.
But you didn't hear anything about that?
Until the
time.
episode.
No, man, because we did that all the time. People brought their animals, and most of the time they were lame animals. A lot of them were horses and cows. Because in Oklahoma there's horse and cow ranches for days, right? And if these animals are dying from natural causes, or if they're lame, or they're whatever the case is, that they're not going to survive or live any longer, then we had these contracts with these farmers, and they would provide us these animals. And then, of course, you know, the locals around town would hear about it as well. So if their horse jumped the fence and broke 2 of its legs, they would say, hey, we got this lame horse. Instead of it, you know, just dying and us burying it, can we bring it to you guys and you guys can make use of it? You know, stuff like that. So that conversation that Rick's talking about, if that happened, that sucks, you know, it really does. But I don't know if Joe would do that, just flat out lie to somebody, because we all knew where those animals were going, you know. So.
Wow, so it's like you listen to that story and you think, I guess it could be true, but it's not. It doesn't strike you as, oh yeah, I guarantee Joe will do that. You're kind of questioning.
Right, yeah, no, I mean, because anything that Joe, you know, had to explain, he would try to work his way out of it. You know what I'm saying by that? I mean, he always wants to look like the hero, so I can see that being a story. But I cannot see him blatantly look someone in the face and being like, I will take care of your animal, and then immediately disposing of it. Because he would rather put it on Facebook like, see, look at what I did. See, I'm taking such good care of it. See, look how good your horse looks.
Well, the story that came up, the way that I was taking it as the story was being told in that last episode on Netflix was that, you know, turn on the camera. Hi, lady, love you. Take care of your horse. Turn off the camera. She drives off. Then he, with the camera off, shoots the horse. Feed him to the tigers when the camera's off. So I thought maybe the fact that he maybe just let Rick see it and not many other people, maybe he just sometimes would let people see an evil side.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely possible, man, honestly. You know, I wasn't there for the conversation, so I just don't know.
No, what was weird to me about that story was that she brought it in a trailer supposedly, and they said leave the trailer here, and then the horse was in the trailer, and he shot the horse in the trailer, and it just seems like, so then how would she not know? Like, there's blood everywhere.
Well, you have
and,
to clean it
like,
up, I'm sure.
You would have to clean all that up. And so someone had to know something. It couldn't have been just Rick, because Rick is not going to be the one cleaning up all the, you know.
That's what I mean. You know, it just seems like something that was too much of a thing for Joe to want to have to deal with. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, I don't see him saying leave your trailer, because that means somebody has to come back for that trailer. And that somebody, regardless of who it is going to say, so how's the horse doing?
Right.
So where's the horse at? I mean, and if he doesn't have a horse to show them, I mean, now you're stuck, buddy. And I don't see Joe putting himself in that position, honestly. But who knows, man? Who knows?
That is weird. Like, she doesn't want to see one picture on Facebook a week later. She don't want to see.
That's what I mean. You know, like how's the horse really doing? You know, I really don't know. It's just weird how, you know, Rick was pretty confident in it. So
I would at least take one picture and then like create a bunch of green screens of here's the horse over here.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. Jeez. I wouldn't have done any of it. I'm just saying, jeez. Like,
talk about fakery.
No, but yeah. Like in Hawaii, the horse is in Hawaii. He's traveling, dude.
Waimanlo, what's up?
No, that's all I'm saying. You know, is most of what Joe did was for a reason. Most of the time, it was for a beneficial reason for himself. So if there was an opportunity for him to say, "Look, I took this horse in and I made it, you know, gave it the best life ever," he's gonna do that. You know what I mean? That's all I was saying. It's like, I just don't see him just creating a lie just to bury himself in it. That's you know, I don't see it.
Oh yeah.
Now, do you notice that of all the people that are in this documentary, and the way Joe is portrayed, like, you're the only person that shows him having like a humane side, like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've seen it, and I think that it's important to acknowledge that.
Why do you think nobody else is acknowledging that? For a story, or do you think they just didn't see it?
You know, it could be a little bit of both. I know that John Rinke, is the park manager with no legs. He and John Finley are the only two people that's known Joe longer than me. You know, so a lot of the people in that documentary only knew Joe a couple of years, aside from Carol Baskin. They only knew him, you know, in the past few years. So Doc Intel and him have been in the same industry, and you know, the guy down in Florida has been in the same industry as him, so they know of each other, you know, and they've worked intricately together. But as far as personally, I've seen Joe on a personal level. I've seen him, you know, do things for people without them being able to do anything for him. Even if it was to say that this is what I did, he still did it. You know, there's a lot of things that he did that I don't condone or agree with, but I'm not going to sit there and ignore the things that I saw him do that I haven't done in my life, you know?
We all have two sides, like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so easy to come up with a list of things that people do that you don't agree with, that you know, think is wrong, or that probably is wrong. But I think it just means a lot to acknowledge everything. You know, at the bones of all of this, we're all human, man. I made so many mistakes, I couldn't count it on all of our hands, you know? But that doesn't make me anything but human. And I think that people should look at him the same, you know?
Did you go to Travis' funeral? Did you attend that service?
I did not, no.
Didn't.
No. I said my goodbyes to Travis. I love that kid.
Yeah, that's another person who, in the sea of crazy characters, he seemed like a good kid. That one scene where he was like punching the trailer. Yeah. What happened there?
Yeah, he was just pissed off that day, man. I remember just telling him, like, just go take a ride. He would jump on his 4-wheeler and just go for like hours. And I told him, I was like, just go get some fresh air somewhere, because what it was is he asked Joe to come meet him somewhere, and Joe was like, I'll be there in 10. And, you know, 10, and then 10, and then 10. And then that's what he was saying. That's what Travis was saying, you know. He's like, I'm asking him for one thing. Like, I just need his attention for 10 minutes. And he can't give me that. And then he wonders why I'm pissed off, you know. Yeah. And it's true, you know. Travis was 20-something years old. He was 19 when he met Joe, you know. Joe's a 55-year-old, 56-year-old man. He's already lived his life. I mean, these boys were in his life strictly for his entertainment, you know, and the boys were in this life strictly for the rewards and what they could get out of it, you know. So.
Was his reaction like when Travis, you know, accidentally shoots himself? What was his reaction?
Yeah, Joe was pretty devastated. I mean, I can imagine. I've never been in that position, so I don't know exactly how he was feeling, but just from the outside looking in, he was devastated, man. He was a man who just lost someone he truly cared about. He lived with for 4 years, you know. And at that point in his life, that also left Joe alone in the house. You know, John Finley already left with Amber, and Travis was who he had left. And then when Travis died, Joe was alone. So I think it was more, it had a lot to do with he lost Travis, but it was more so now he's alone.
Does he realize maybe I treated them not so great? Do you think he got to that realization? Or?
Never.
So no. Do you think, you know, they kind of portrayed the funeral service and stuff kind of like a show? Do you think that was sincere, or do you think like that I'm just kind of putting on a show for the documentary? Or,
you know, I don't. Oh, definitely not. No. That footage was actually just filmed by the crew, because that was happening during the time of filming. You know, and that was Joe all the time. Joe made everything a show. You know, people highlighted to me that, you know, while I was sitting there, you know, trying not to bleed out and trying to remain calm so that everyone else around me remains calm, you know, Joe's thinking about his financial future and, you know, his wardrobe. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
put on the EMT jacket.
Yeah. So that's Joe. Everything is a show. Everything. And if you know, honestly, when it comes to sincerity, I think that he genuinely cared about Travis. I've seen that in his actions when Travis was alive. But I think it had more to do with he was alone. Joe, in the 10 years that I've known him, has never been alone, ever, not once.
Becca was just wondering something. What was your question, Becca? If she can, like, I don't know, the Wi-Fi is.
No, how come you said you're still? Are you guys still filming episodes?
No, we're not filming episodes. No, this morning I did something for Fox News with Nancy Grace.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's why I was in the studio. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's just all this is like all aftermath stuff from the show.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, when I first came out here to California, I just got a regular warehouse job to pay the bills, you know?
Right.
I didn't expect any of this. So, and honestly, the reason that I like participating in most of the interviews, I love this interview, obviously. I feel like I'm talking to buddies from home, man. But
we were just saying that. No.
Yeah, I am. That's right, Beck. But no, a lot of the reason that I participate in the other, the other stuff with people that don't know me is because I like to be able to speak for myself. If the story is going to be told, I want to be the one telling it. It's my story to tell. So
we just recently got we got 2 puppies from Koalau Pets in Windward Side.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
and then. But so I'll send you the YouTube to the story. But I mean, basically, one of them survived, the other one didn't, and they got parvo, and it was this whole thing. It was a mess, right? We got into like this whole thing, like similar feelings, where like we just went in innocently. We just want to love some dogs, and then there was this whole side of like, did you tell us everything we needed to know? Like. Then they had to go into the hospital and all this miscommunication. They didn't want to put out the money that it cost them when they said they would. But then there was all this like back of the pet store. Like, anyway, so we got into it.
Back alley stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
The thing about it is, though, like, it's so devastating to hear that because I loved Koalau Pets. When I was a kid, like, aside from the food court, that's where I was in the mall. My sisters, my mom, she could go shopping for hours. I just get lost in that pet store,
Well, you should definitely check out this our podcast if you get a chance.
Yeah. Links. Do you guys have like a channel that I can like subscribe to or what?
Yeah. Well, HawaiianRyan.com, and there's a bunch of videos there.
The YouTube is youtube.com/ratedhr show.
Rated HR show.
So that's that's what this will be on. But I mean, because so we were always thinking about doing a little podcast just centered on our new puppy, Leia Sharpea, at Leia Sharpea. You can follow on Instagram. But
nice.
But it was also a little bit because we knew now we kind of tapped into through
the animal kingdom.
Yeah, in our own little world, we're like, there's this whole like same thing where there's like money comes before health care. And, so we've always wanted to try to do a podcast. So now we're gonna call you and we're gonna do an animal activism podcast where we talk about the cutest animals in the world and how we can get better health care for them.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, and I got videos too. So we'll definitely do that, man. You guys got to keep in touch for sure.
Thank you so much for taking all this time out and talking with us. Definitely welcome here anytime. You let us know when you're in town.
Oh, yeah.
I'll definitely do that, man.
And hopefully it's a time where we can actually hug. It won't have to be like air shakas.
Yeah, it's so weird right now, man. I was telling my wife and my kids, I was like, it's like a movie right now. Like everyone's in face masks and gloves and not talking to each other. Like it's a movie. It's weird.
You know what? I'm going to play some of this on the Sam and Ryan show on 93.9 The Beat tomorrow morning on our morning show, the radio show that I have. And I just like, if is there a message, like something you'd want to say to the people of Hawaii right now?
Yeah, I know that I'm still proud of our culture. We are the trailblazers, man, of like overcoming adversity. Our queen, man, is like the epitome of you're gonna have to do it over my dead body. You know what I mean? So if we can just keep our culture in that sense, if we can just kind of be as strong as our queen, if you guys listen to the Queen's Jubilee, that's exactly what she's saying. She's saying, don't fear and don't be sad. I got you. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Saff, so much. We'll keep in touch.
Great talk. Yeah, Beck. Thanks, man. I'll definitely keep in touch.
Yeah. The next time you text, she's texting back, Saff.
Not an answer.
She better. We're just playing.
Really yeah, it was just really good catching up, man. It really was. You look so good, Beck. You look really good for another before. My goodness. Good on you.
So pretty.
It's so pretty. All right, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Saff. Thanks, Becca.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Saff, so much.